The Australian Bureau of Meteorology employs 1,500 staff and costs Australians around $1 million a day. Ask people in waterlogged Cairns if they think they're getting value for money. The region was devastated by record rainfall that accompanied Cyclone Jasper, rainfall the Bureau failed to predict. Now, it's true the Bureau issued flood warnings around 9 a.m. on Sunday the 17th, but roads had been cut from around 9 p.m. on Saturday the 16th. Some people were sitting on the roofs of their homes trying to escape floodwaters when they received a text message from the Bureau advising them to watch out for floodwaters. We pay the Bureau well over $300 million a year to tell us it's going to rain, not to tell us that it has rained, and so that's why you're sitting on your roof. And what about people on the Gold Coast? Ask them to rate the Bureau's forecasting performance. Southeast Queensland was smashed by a wild storm on Christmas evening that, according to the Gold Coast Mayor, Tom Tate, the Bureau warned people about 15 minutes after it happened.
We'll be talking to BOM about what's going on regarding warning, because we can't warn people unless they gave us the data, and that part of it is not good enough.
What do you think about that for a lot of residents who didn't get that notice that this storm is going to hit?
I think it's unforgivable. So we've got to sort it that it doesn't happen again.
Now, according to the Mayor, the Bureau emailed residents around 9 p.m. on Christmas night to warn them of a storm that hit at 8:45 p.m. Again, the Bureau is being paid to provide forecasts, not history. Despite two massive failures from the Bureau in the space of just 10 days, Emergency Services Minister Murray Watt gave a full-throated defence of the Bureau.
I've certainly seen the criticism that's been made by a number of political figures over the last 24 hours of the Bureau of Meteorology, and I'm here to say that we have full confidence in the ability of the Bureau of Meteorology in its prediction systems.
How can anyone have full confidence in the Bureau's prediction system when its predictions come after the event? If I told Murray Watt today that Anthony Albanese would win last year's election, would he claim full confidence in my predictions? Or would he say, James, you sound perfectly suited to work at the Bureau of Meteorology? And while the Minister has full confidence in the Bureau's predictions, the Bureau apparently does not. It was revealed today that the Bureau of Meteorology is requiring people to agree they should not have full confidence in the Bureau's weather app before the Bureau will allow them to download it. The Australian reported the Bureau of Meteorology is requiring people to absolve it of legal liability for any loss, damages or costs they incur from forecasts which it warns carry a degree of uncertainty before granting access to its app. Users of the Bureau of Meteorology app now have to agree to a 699-word terms and conditions statement that includes information at this app may not be accurate, current or complete. Now, I know what you're thinking. Does the Bureau issue similar disclaimers when advising the government on climate change policy and predictions for the end of the century? I'm not allowed to download the Bureau's app without agreeing they might get tomorrow's forecast completely wrong. And yet Chris Bowen is dismantling and rebuilding our energy grid at enormous cost and huge risk based on faith. The Bureau's got its forecast for 2050 absolutely correct. If the Bureau shouldn't be held accountable for tomorrow's forecast because, well, it's difficult to predict the weather, and let's be honest, sometimes the Bureau is less accurate than simply looking out your window or watching what the ants are doing, why should we believe their apocalyptic predictions about the weather 50 years from now?
Meteorology is not a perfect science. The Bureau of Meteorology do the absolute best they can with the science they have available, but this proves the point that there are sometimes weather systems that, even with the best will in the world and the best possible science, can't be absolutely predicted down to the precise detail.
What does Minister Watt mean when he says meteorology is not a perfect science? I thought the science was settled. Or does he mean meteorology is not a perfect science if we're talking about, 48 hours from now, but it's absolutely certain if we're talking 100 years from now? Without realising it, Murray Watt has defined the idiocy of Chris Bowen and the government's approach to climate change. If the Bureau of Meteorology is exercising a little humility when it comes to their ability to predict the future, just maybe the government should exercise a little humility rather than recklessly destroying our way of life in the name of climate science while demonising anyone who urges caution. Or, if they're as certain as they claim, agree to indemnify us from any loss, damages or costs we incur from Chris Bowen's forecasts.